in the building.
Let's
go.
Live with the Wolfhard Roar!
Let's go.
Let's go.
Welcome, everybody, to another wonderful Freaky Friday show. On this wonderful Friday, thank you for joining us at New York Revival, where it's not just sports, it's also a little bit of entertainment. We're missing our guy E, our MC, but you know what? We try our best here. Me and El Jefe are joining you guys, and we're going to make a special Rangers podcast for you guys today. And we have an awesome guest to come fill us in. Our yearly visit from one of our boys, and we'll introduce him very shortly. But real quick, Jefe, how you doing on this Friday?
Fantastic. I heard that he's got a top 2 hockey podcast in the nation, and it's not 2.
Hey,
is from what I've heard. But always happy to do these Friday shows. We miss our fearless leader, but
we do.
We're diving into hockey. He's always with us. But this is gonna be a fun one, man. Why don't we get right to it?
Let's get right to it. Let's bring him in. I want to talk to our guy Ryan Mead from Blueshirts Breakaway. Round of applause! Round of applause!
It's very, very funny to watch the other guests you guys have had on the show and then introduce me. It's like Tiki Barber.
Hey.
This asshole.
Listen, you have the keys. I believe this is your 4th time on this show. I know you probably got so much shit going on you don't remember, but you are a annual guest here, and you have the keys, my brother.
Thank you. I appreciate you letting me in, and it's happy to be home.
Oh man, we love you, and it's a frustrating time here in Rangerland. It's got to be one of the most frustrating seasons in recent memory. Coming off of, just a phenomenal year last year, and here we sit. Rangers are currently at 50? They're at 52 points, and way back in the wild card standings. And I want to just talk Rangers hockey with you.
Way back,
kind of
like not way back.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of teams in front of us. Let's just say that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Let's cut to the meat here. We're 5 points back at the top wild card spot. What are your expectations at this point? How's the season gone for you?
How do you how do you even start this conversation? It's probably the worst January or worst month and a half of any sports team I've ever followed. Not just the Rangers.
Oh, right. That's one way to start it. Yeah.
Not just the Rangers, but any sport I've ever followed. And I'm a psychopath, so I follow way too much stuff. And that 6-week period of just complete give up, complete non-compliance, just non-competitive hockey and pathetic performances was really, really hard to swallow. And then they, in very Ranger fashion, go and take 9 straight games of points while losing some horrific losses. And now we're back on the, actually we are pretty bad side of things. And I don't want to swing too much. And roller coaster is a bad way to put this in terms, because it's not up and down. It's down. Oh yeah, I guess the talent's still there. We have some stuff going on, and then it's also down again. So what do I want out of this season is a really loaded question I talk about in the therapy, a lot. And it's do you want a top lottery pick, or do you want this team with Igor Shesterkin to get to the playoffs? And I will tell you, let's talk best case scenarios. I'd love to start there. Best case scenario, get wild card 2. I think that's where I'm at. They get wild card 2. Okay. They play the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Toronto Maple Leafs are the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Rangers find a way to beat the Toronto Maple Leafs in the first round. Igor Shesterkin does Igor Shesterkin things, and there we go. Then you're in the second round. You reverse the Florida Panthers, likely, at that point in time. And then the Florida Panthers come and spank you like they did last year. Again, they actually flip the switch, as the Rangers cannot, and turn it on, and you're home in 4 games. And then all of a sudden, you're picking 20th in this draft. You probably traded for JT Miller, by the way, already. We'll get to that. He's probably on the team. You have 2 contracts under contract till 2030, Mika Zibanejad and JT Miller. And you're going to sit here and say, okay, we have probably the worst competitive center depth in the league when it turns to like making actual noise. Phil Lapito was likely in the trade for JT Miller. So it's like all of our centers are over 30. We're not getting faster. And I call this Rangers team the worst and slowest finesse team in the league. That's where I'm at.
I mean, that was the positive version, people. That was a positive version.
Yeah, I'm being nice.
So okay, the Avs game, was that the straw that's going to eventually break this New York Ranger back? Like, we were so close to being back. I even saw you with some positive tweets for a little bit there, and then Avs game happened.
Look, when the team's fun, like no matter kind of what, we're all sort of addicted to this Ranger drug of wow, and we're also spoiled. Like the last couple years have been super fun. I cannot express how stupid fun last year was. It was Team of Destiny nonsense consistently throughout the entire season. And when they don't win, I think the deepest heartbreak I've had is when they lost to Ottawa. It's just like a personal level. It just felt like the end of the Hank era. Like this was it. Like we really put out Nick Holden, like at this last second when they score the goal. Like I think we could have beat Crosby that year. Ottawa took them to Game 7. And like other than Tampa Bay Game 7, that's probably number one. It's like Ottawa after that. And then the Florida Panthers is right there. Because I knew at the moment it happens when, Goodrow scores, you're up in the series, everything's working. You kind of know, like, this is it, man. This is kind of the last chance. And if you go back and look at history of teams that have made consecutive Eastern Conference finals, it's a short list, and a lot of them are elite. A lot of them have the Sidney Crosby, those players that you yearn for in your lifetime. And the Rangers, like, have Igor Shesterkin, and they don't have anything else of that caliber. So it is particularly very tough, and it's tough to have like that fun year and then go into this year where it's all just frankly a disaster. Yeah. And if you want me, I could just keep going for another 40 minutes.
No. Well, so how much of that? Yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
I should say real quick, because we got super chats live and our revivalist of the month.
Wow.
The guy's just like really knows how to hold his title here while he's got the belt. But congrats to Ryan on his most recent award.
Thank you.
They're the best in the biz.
Yeah, he's
a great try.
And then our good friend from the Giant Insider, Jerry, first time, long time.
Yeah.
Why do the Rangers hate me? I'll hang up and listen. What are your thoughts there, Greg?
They don't hate you as much as the Giants hate you.
That's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair.
They hate you. Like, don't get me wrong. It's just the Giants hate you in a different level. Like the Rangers are like putting down. They're making you walk through mud, but they're putting down a jacket. You're still gonna get muddy, and like they're like, oh, okay. And the Giants are just shoving your face in the mud.
God,
it's the same situation.
He was.
I want to touch on what you said a little bit. Like, last year being so awesome, is how much of this are you putting on like just a letdown? Like they came so close, and this core has been so close so many times. And it feels like a missed opportunity. Like, how much of that are you bled into this year, in your opinion?
A lot. Like, I don't want to do blame pie, but I will. And if you do like a pie chart, I think, personally, I've had a lot of experiences where you fly really close to your goal and you just don't get there. And it's so deflating to have to restart, like start over. Like, I really have to get back in the gym again. Like, I'm 35. Like, this sucks. And so it's really the mental block of being so close and everything being magic and it all stopping. And then the other block is, hey, I don't know if you guys know this, but we're aging. So like a player like Mika Zibanejad, I talk to a lot of people around the league a lot of the time. I know that sounds weird, but it's true. And I think
that's humble brag.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Somehow I'm an insider. I don't get it. It's fucking weird. I don't know if I can curse. Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely can. No worries.
Cool. It's really weird. People tell me stuff and I don't understand. But anyway, because Zibanejad just like, he mysteriously turns 31, 32, and you're like, I think he's wasn't prepared for like I just can't turn it on. Like you look at these guys, Sidney Crosby, even Jonathan Quick. Jonathan Quick talks about this all the time. I have to work my ass off to get into the game every single day. Like just to stay at the performance level of the NHL. He is constantly doing that. And I'm not saying like I'm not looking at Mika Zibanejad all day long. I don't know what he's doing all the time. But I think you can kind of tell that he just like isn't in the shape or isn't in the mindset. It's both. Like everything went wrong for Mika Zibanejad at all once.
Yeah.
Right. And pretty much everyone who plays with Mika Zibanejad like starts losing their ability to score. Like you see it with Will Cooley. You saw it with Capo Caco. I'm happy to do 27 minutes on Capo Caco. But like
we're gonna talk about Caco.
Yeah, but like everybody that plays with Mika Zibanejad is a 5v5 black hole. There's been one player who's been successful and he plays in St. Louis. So there is it's really, really hard to say this is all just like a mental game, but it's aging plus mental plus the worst Eastern Conference I've seen in the last 10 years.
What about a little heart? Like it fees like these guys, like Mika, and again, I don't want to question their heart and their will, but it seems like they do. Yeah, fair. It seems like they don't have what it takes mentally and in here. They don't have the dog in them to get over this, right? Like, does anybody think they're going to pull out of this? Like, realistically,
I think they can make it. And I know like leadership internally thinks they could, like, even when they were in the doldrums of the bad 6 weeks, like Drury and Dolan kind of were like, yeah, we can make the playoffs. Like we can get there. Like, but is that best for like the future of the team? I'm just not sure. But if you want to make the case on the other side, like, okay, you get a first round draft pick and 3 years from now, you might have a guy that you also will bury and your coach will not play. Like, is that like, what is the end goal? So yeah, this group like had the magic, they were beat. And I think it all comes down to the Florida game this year. Like they were on a tear. They were unstoppable at the beginning of the year. I was bragging like this team's going to show up to work and just put teams down. Like they were very animal cruelty. It was bad. Like just it was like they were destroying everyone. And then the Florida Panthers came into MSG. Trocheck misses that shot, and then from that moment they were just defeated and mentally.
Doesn't even seem like the same season. Like it doesn't even feel like the same season. Like game you're talking about right now. Like because this whole black hole they went in December and in January, it just like it sapped the life out of all the fans here. So I want to switch gears for a little bit here. Well, not switch gears. Actually, let's stay on track for one more question. Trade deadline. What is Ryan, the GM, Drury doing? Like, what are you doing here?
Nothing.
Are you playing it game by game over the next like? Is literally 5 games now to the 4 nations? Does it matter what happens in these 5?
That's exactly what I was going to say. Is there something you need to see that would determine if you're going to be a buyer or a seller or nothing?
No, I think everything's set in stone already. And like this is such a fun conversation almost every other year, where we've done this for 9 years now, and like the question I always get is like, what are we doing at the trade deadline, right? And then like you can go to the trade deadline charts and do all these things, like pick all the targets, and if then there's like a bunch of if then statements, like if not Gensel, we get Max Pacioretty. If Max Pacioretty says no to his no movement clause, we get Jack Roslovic for some reason. And then that's what ended up happening last year, and that's cool and all fun. Like you do the Kane thing, you do the Kopp and Vetrano thing. Like, ooh, who are these guys? Like this is kind of exciting. There's no second option. It's like the Rangers are getting JT Miller. I will like put my foot down on that. It's been done for like a while. Vancouver is very reluctant to get it done because they have imploded and messed this negotiation up on their side in a big, big way. And because of that, they're going to have to accept a deal that they're not happy with. And that's their fault. JT Miller has a no movement clause. He's going to say, I want to go to New York. Everything else is a smokescreen. And that's all that's going to be. And maybe they retain some salary, which would be insane. Like actually crazy. And I want to make sure this is clear. Like, I'm not a gung-ho go get JT Miller guy. Like, I'm not like, this is going to change everything. Like, but at the same time, 100-point players don't just fall into your lap. And I know they're older, but if you want to like redo kind of like what's going on with the culture, JT Miller, the guy wants to win. He's like an asshole. No doubt. Like, he was a throw in that trade because he was an asshole. Like, originally when we traded with Ryan McDonough. And he's got.
You need that though.
Yeah, there's a lot of problems, but Drury, like there's a lot of things you have to put in perspective here. Vincent Trocheck is best friends with JT Miller. So, you know, like there's a lot of USA hockey connections. And if you want to see, like, I had one person tell me really, really in depth, they're extremely critical of Chris Drury. And they were like, give me a move that Chris Drury has made that's actually his, that has worked. And the answer was like simply Vincent Trocheck. Like Will Cooley was a Gorton draft. And now Drury's starting to put his fingerprints on the roster. He extended Will Borgen. That was a very quick negotiation. Like he was here for 17 games and paid him 5 for 5 years. Wow. That's we can talk about that for 6 hours if you want. Urho Vakanainen, like that seems to be working out. But he's putting his fingerprints on the roster. Right now, that's like, I think you're going to see a lot of USA hockey guys come to the New Rangers over the next couple of years. And that's why they're going to try and figure this out.
Interesting. Obviously been frustrating. The magic was there last year. Now it's just up and down and miserable trying to figure out what this team is going to be. How much of that do you put on the coach? You know, like he can do, it's the same coach as last year. The magic was there. All of a sudden it's gone. Do you put this on him, and like how much?
I really, I want to make sure this is clear. Thought Laviolette was the best coach the Rangers had in the last like decade, last year. And I know Alain Vigneault, like you can make the case, whatever you want to do. But Laviolette last year was doing everything correctly. And this is kind of the book for him. Year one, things work. But I'm sick of kind of these coaches, like we have the book that year one things work and years two things don't. And I think Gerard Gallant is a hockey terrorist. I really think he's one of the worst coaches I've ever interacted with. Like just I hated everything about Gerard Gallant.
Big douchebag.
I hate.
Yep.
I'll tell it to his face, and I hope he comes on my show. But Laviolette,
AV was the same way, right? Like
AV coaches. This is a difference.
Yeah,
like, AV coached. Like Gallant went in, and he was like, "All right, boys, get out there." Like that's. I wish I was like from everything. Like it was the same practices. They didn't work on anything. And then Laviolette came in last year, had these hyper competitive practices. Everyone's working to the bone. Like I had ESPN reporters tell me they had never seen practices like what was happening with the Rangers with any other team. They were playing really, really hard, doing all these competitive things. And this is like what Steph Curry does. So it's like the modern practice, like competitive gameplay, working on specific, unique things. And maybe it like overworked the players. Maybe they got hurt. Maybe it just like wasn't enough and they ran out of gas. Maybe that's all it. So the coaching staff, including like Dan Muse and Michael Pekka, like changed so much about what was happening. And then this year happens. And it's the perfect storm of everything being crap at the same time. I mean, the coaching staff isn't working. The practices aren't working anymore. The special things we were practicing aren't working. The players are quitting. Drury's panicking. So it's how much do I put on the coaching staff? Like at least 30%. Like you got to blame the coaches somewhere. I think the coach is the fall guy. And I do believe we're kind of on the last days of Laviolette, mostly because I don't think he's coming back next year anyway. So like even if they like made the Eastern Conference Finals, I still think he's fired.
Really?
Right.
Yeah. So I don't really fully blame him, but I do think he's like, if they have another Carolina game, I think he's gone.
Like it's what the red flags are for me. Like I've never heard so many players on the current team come out against like the playing time. Is that against Drury or is that against Laviolette? Like where is this coming from? All these players talking out.
It's both. What's really funny is like Drury has tried to create a culture, and there's other teams that this really works for. What's super annoying is if you ever interview anybody from the Tampa Bay Lightning that covers the Tampa Bay Lightning or do anything, they will sit there and tell you straight to your face for like 10 minutes, like the culture. And it's every single person that covers the Lightning. And it's true. Like guys just stay, they take less money, no tax, love it. They all hang out in their fucking boats in Florida. Like they all love it. And Drury's tried to create this culture, and instead it's kind of become a little toxic. Like, and there is a locker room divided. There's people that are team Drury, like Trocheck. And there are people that are not team Drury, like probably Kreider and Mika. I can't confirm that, but like I'm just gonna go ahead and say that's probably what's happening.
Fair.
And there's like a little bit of a split there. And it's not that the guys don't like each other. It's a toxic work environment. Like there's a full Vince article about this where he just really goes in depth on like the work environment and how kind of weird and shady it is. So it is weird to have like Kakko come out and say like I don't have playing time, and VC come out and say I don't have playing time. And at the same time, like Kakko was miserable, man, and he got traded and it's working out for him. VC's miserable for the right reasons. I think he should be playing, but they're playing the kids over him. Like, would you rather play Edstrom and Rempe or VC? Like my answer is I'd rather play Edstrom and Rempe. But I do feel bad for VC. So yeah, it's a weird, sad, kind of toxic organization right now.
It's not a good sign when a frustrated player leaves and then is happy and doing well.
Smiling on the ice and throwing fish into the crowd. You don't think it's a good sign?
You talking about that?
Because anybody else who's frustrated is be like, damn, they're looking at the grass is greener on the other side now.
I mean, yeah, Zach Jones is screwed. He's never playing.
And what's it? 15 points in like 19 games for Kakko? Like, is it as simple as he needed to change the scenery? Like,
yes. Yeah, man. That's we don't have to break it down much more than that. Like, and on top of that, they're playing a system that allows him to kind of get those points. He never got top power play minutes. We know that. He's playing on the top line, and he's doing things that he wasn't really allowed to do here. Is Kako a winning player long term? I think so. I think he's like a really good, like maybe upper echelon right wing 3, and maybe like low, like maybe like a top 6 lower, like second liner.
Right.
But like, will the Kraken win a lot with Kako at right wing 1? I don't know. Like, they're going to probably sign him. It's a good value. Like, hopefully they can get him for a cheap number, and I hope he has a really great career. I think he's a winning player, but he just wasn't the winning player that the Rangers were going to work on at all. Like, they prioritize their core guys, and they're still here.
Yeah. I mean, so real quick, if you had to guess, is Drury the GM of the 2026 or 25, I guess, season? The next season, is Drury your GM next season?
Drury's not going anywhere. He's so ingrained, it's ridiculous.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not. There are 2 people that report to James Dolan. It's Leon Rose and Chris Drury, and those are the only 2 people that are like really allowed to do that. And they have full trust from James Dolan, both of them.
Good to know. It's pretty well.
Now, like, even though there's been ups, there's been downs, like the 9-game streak, like you're talking about, is there, like, the expectations were so high in the past this year, should they get in, is there any part of you that thinks they can somehow find that magic and go on a nice run again?
No. And yeah, no.
Well, that's it, folks. Thanks for coming.
No. Guys, center play is so important in this league. And like, I know JT Miller could change some things for this squad. I get that. Like, maybe like a top line JT Miller, move Mika to the second, or even like move Mika to the third and have Trocheck pan that second line. Like, maybe that's a cool kind of, oh, look at our kind of cool center depth. Mika got his lunch eaten like a lot last year. The only series he was excellent in was the Washington series, where he was gangbusters against Dylan Strome. Okay. And I know Dylan Strome had like a really hot start, and he's since cooled off. But everyone else, like every other matchup he had, he got his lunch eaten. And Trocheck is not the same player he was last year. He's fallen off a cliff as well. So it's like, all right, we're going in with JT Miller, Vincent Trocheck, and like Mika Zibanejad. Where can we make this noise? And you can make the case that the Eastern Conference is really, really weak. But I think whatever team you're going to play out of the West, like let's say somehow in some weird universe they get to the Stanley Cup Finals, I think you're getting stomped. Like, like if you see Connor McDavid on the other side, like, dude, pack it up. I think they could have beat the Edmonton Oilers last year, and some people think I'm crazy. I think they had it. I think if they could have got past Florida, I still think they had it. But if you got to play Draisaitl and McDavid this year, like, good luck, buddy. Go home.
Yeah. Well, that last year they were running that magic like thing where you couldn't even explain why they were going to beat Edmonton, but you felt it, right? Like it was like a team of destiny. Like
I can tell you, like, they couldn't tend the goal. Like there's a reason that Florida
is that important? Is that
okay? It's really, they had no defense and they couldn't goaltend. It was like, please, Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl outscore this other squad. And 3 of the games they did in the finals, and Edmonton found themselves back in it until Florida kind of righted the ship and avoided one of the worst chokes in sports history. They did that, but I think the Rangers would have been able to like really exploit that fact in a big way.
Right. So I just I want to get your opinion here. Most disappointing young guy. Oh, we're gonna do 2 levels of the disappointing, right? Because there's so much disappointing shit going on.
There's layers.
Most disappointing young player. Is it Lafreniere based on what he did last year, or is it K'Andre Miller for you?
No, K'Andre already took a step back last year, so it's definitely Lafreniere. Like look, you signed him to a long-term deal, $7 million, not a joke. I still think it's a good deal, and I still think like everyone's down this year, so I can't like fully say Lafreniere's at fault. But there are some times where like the back checking isn't there. Like there's this version of Lafreniere I really love. It's this Brad Marchand light version where he's kind of like a rat. He's kind of like physical. And this year is just not really available. Like he still has these moments of, oh my God, the hockey IQ is so high and the passing is so much better than everyone else. And then there's like a ton of moments where it's just like the effort level just isn't full bore.
Is he part of the culture?
This guy.
Matty.
Sorry. Sorry. I talk to this guy like every day.
Matty. Hey, is he part of this whole, like, because you could say the same for like at least 5 or 6 other guys, right?
Mhm.
The effort thing.
Well, I think we talked about camps earlier, right? And Lafreniere is sort of in the Mika and Kreider camp. Like they're sort of his dads. Like there's a bunch of pictures of them together, whole deal. And like I think if he felt like those guys were getting spited, he wasn't playing at his full level. He kind of signed his deal and dipped. Now the last couple of games he's been back to producing again. He's been not doing nothing.
Right.
But he's just like, I wish he was more. And he got his chance on power play 1 and he just pooped his pants.
It was so disappointing. It's like every time they give these guys a little bit of like life, like even Kako to a certain extent, they shit their pants instantly, and it's just like it's right back to the doldrums after that, right?
I mean, let's talk. You were probably is your next thing like who's the most promising? Like we're gonna do Will Cooley now.
Yes. Who is there anybody?
Well, Will Cooley was, and like he had like 15 goals in the first like 3 weeks, and he was the only bright spot with Filipino for like a while. And then they were like, Will Cooley, you could fix Mika Zibanejad. And then since then he's got like 1 goal.
How many times we do this?
Yeah, so it's funny to see like the Heedle, and Cooley playing together, just being so effective and being gangbusters. And then Will Cooley's been sort of, and look, you're playing against lesser talent on the third line. I get that, but in general, since he's been with Mika, it's been really bad.
And there's the other part of this: who's the most disappointing veteran for you? And I'm just going to go to the 2 guys here. Fox is Fox having a down year, or does it just feel like it? Like
the Rangers are having a down year. Yeah, Mika is right. -25. Yeah, he's the worst in the league, by the way.
Oh my God!
Wow.
What is that?
Yeah, he's the worst plus minus in the league. And plus minus is garbage, but when you're the worst in the league,
it means something.
Pretty rough.
If you're the worst,
yeah, it's pretty tough. So that one's bad. So Mika's definitely that guy. But yeah, like, I think like I kind of knew Mika, like we were sort of out on it.
Right.
Like me and Greg talked a lot about like last year, like this was the Mika's like last chance. My friend Fitz would always tweet like, "Oh, how do you want to be remembered?" And the answer was like, poop. So I think Trocheck is really like, if you want to talk most disappointing for me, he had such a phenomenal year last year. He was sort of a bona fide 1C in a weird way. And that line of Lafreniere, Trocheck, and Panarin was supposed to be the end all be all this year. And they were producing at 5v5, and they are not this year at all. They're not dangerous the way they were. And it's really disappointing.
It just, it goes to show you like a guy like Vincent Trocheck, who was the vibes of this team last year. He was the vibes. Like, he was so cocky, like getting into fights, just scrums, and it feels like this black pit, this black cloud over us that everybody's under it right now. Like depending, like doesn't even matter if you're a jury guy or not. Like everybody lost their fucking mojo
at the same time. At the same time,
dude.
Yeah,
fucking wild. All right, so let's take a break off of Rangers. Let's talk about some other stuff. Are you excited for Four Nations? Does it go on your radar?
Four Nations facing off? Is that what you're asking?
Well, yes.
Four Nations facing off. No. I'm not.
Just
like they're
zero.
not. Like Quinn Hughes is already pulling out, man. Like it's sort of like an exhibition. It's not the Olympics. Like they were hoping this would be the Olympics, and USA basketball in the Olympics was gangbusters. It was amazing. Like watching Steph and LeBron go together, it was just like a biblical experience. And this is not the Team USA, Team Canada powers. Like, will I catch the highlights or maybe watch USA versus Canada?
Yeah,
probably. Like, will I turn it on? Yeah. Will I like follow any of the standings or anything else? Like, no. Like it's not the Olympics. It's different.
I just wonder, like, is there any kind of like fatigue you're worried about? Are they going to go all out?
Yeah, man. Of course, like Adam Fox goes in there and he bumps his knee with somebody, and then all of a sudden, like our chance of making wild card 2 is really gone. Like, yeah, yes, of course I'm worried. Vincent Trocheck and Chris Kreider are on the team. You really think I want them to be playing? That's crazy.
But on the flip side, is there any bit of you that thinks that the vibes could, like, what if JT Miller and Fox and all these guys they win this tournament? Is there any bit of you like
what are they getting?
Take that into? Yeah, I'm looking for something here.
Well, like they go in and they go, "Oh, I'm the Four Nations winner." Like, all right, buddy. Like, what? Like,
cool, bro.
Is that your local pub? Like, what? Who cares? Like, do you think the Lakers sit around and like they go, "We won the in-season tournament"?
It's a joke. It's a joke.
LeBron probably does.
Sure, it's probably on his resume, but it's like the last line. It's the last line.
I'm going to ask this sad question and then open it up to wherever you want to take this. But do you think this is the beginning of the end of like the core of the Rangers that we've kind of just had a nice run with, just of being relevant. The reliable handful of guys that are there. Do you think this is kind of the beginning of the end?
You said the beginning of the end. We're in the middle. Like,
all right, let me rephrase. Do you think this is the middle of the end?
Yeah, this is the middle of the end. Yeah. They traded Drew, but they traded Kako. Like, Mika Zibanejad is legally here until 2030 if he wants to be. Like, if he wants to be a Ranger until 2030, he will legally be here. But I think Chris Kreider, this is like, I really thought for a long time he'd retire Ranger. I sort of think otherwise now. I don't see it. Whatever you want to say about Chris Kreider, he is the leader of the clubhouse. Like, he's the captain. Anyway, he'll never say that. Like, he was the captain. And you really can't get new leadership until like he's gone. So really, it's Mika leaves if we like force him out and he's like unhappy and they find a way. But yeah, this is the middle. Like, this is not old Gorton Rangers. That's all kind of gone. It's whatever Drury deems as his USA hockey hub plus Igor Shesterkin.
Right. And so I kind of want to compare the cores, right? Like remember that old school Henrik core, the tough, gritty guys that got to the Stanley Cup. Did you like that core better, or did you like this core that came so close there in their own right a couple times, but just fell short? One was like flash, one was grit. Which one did you like better?
This core smokes that first core. Okay, and it's like they're more likable, the other core, in some ways.
Right.
But like talent-wise, like, guys, it's not close. Like 100%. I'm not trying to be this guy. I know Henrik is a god. Like, Igor's not far from like what Henrik was at those times. He's really, really good. So like, if you're like, okay, do I have like 90% of Henrik Lundqvist, and I also have Adam Fox, and I have Panarin, like, a 50 goal scorer, Chris Kreider, a first overall pick, a second overall pick. Like,
it should have been enough. You should have.
Yeah, it should have been enough, but it wasn't. It wasn't enough. And we could do hypotheticals because I'm not really allowed to do them a lot of the time. But like this, we win the cup. Like, if the Eichel thing happens, like it just, like if Eichel ends up coming and I don't put that billboard up, that's my bad. Like
we blame you.
We probably win. I really feel that. But the Pagula has stopped all that, and that's how that. I think if Eichel was on this team and we were able to play 5v5 a little bit higher level, I really don't see a way this team didn't get one.
Oh God, just painful. Hey, listen,
all we know,
Ryan, we know pain is as good as anybody here as a major Giants podcast. But we were hoping. Feeling? Oh, just what's the worst word you could imagine? That's how we feel.
Do you want my like 2 cents on the Giants?
Please do.
You guys need to like go 1-15 next year. And like, you don't want to draft a quarterback. You want to just like get really bad. And you just take Arch Manning 1-1 and like, let's just call it a day. And like, you have a Manning. I was talking to somebody that played in the NFL last week, and they were like, he's Eli, but with the ability to move and actually an athlete. Like, and look, I don't know. Like, I'm not a football scout, but if I was a vibes guy, I would take one more year. I would get Arch Manning, and I'd be like, well, this is it now. Like,
we got to
there's an argument for that. With 3 weeks to go, the Giants had the first overall pick. And then in week 17, so second to last game, we put up 45 points on a Colts team playing for a playoff berth.
Yep.
Against the fucking Giants.
And we guys, you don't want to you don't want to go and pick a quarterback this year, because then you're 3 or 4 years of, is this the guy? And you don't have to be a scientist. 6
of those.
Like, let's look at the final 4 from this year. Josh Allen, he's a guy.
He's
Patrick Mahomes, he's the guy.
Yep.
Like Jalen Hurts, like whatever you want to say about him, he's definitely up in the echelon. You can make your case, like top 10, whatever. I don't care. Sure. And then like a lot of the teams that really got, like, they had the quarterback. They don't, like, you're not going to take Cam Smith, like, with these guys, like, they're just not those guys.
You're right, and it is a very clear path to it. Like, Dable will probably get fired halfway through the year. Shane will probably get fired. There's a path there. I just don't know if Giants fans will survive it. I just don't know. It's brutal.
I wouldn't, but you're not like Jaden Daniels he's the guy all of a sudden. It's like, oh, cool. Like, now you have Jaden Daniels in your division for the next 15 years. So like, you need your guy.
Big time.
So you're saying Shedeur Sanders can't be our guy?
No, dude. And not for nothing. I know a lot of people at the Eagles organization. It's been really weird that this has happened to me. But like they are insanely well run. Like they win executives of the year every year, the whole team.
He doesn't miss. Their
GM has been running laps around the league. Like everything he touches turns to gold lately, and it sucks.
And by the way, their assistant GM is like just as good. It's really sickening. They take it extremely seriously. So look, I don't know shit about the NFL, but
we tried to take one of their guys too, Brandon Brown, and everything we do turns to shit. This is what we do.
Yeah, I don't know if he doesn't have a say, but he brought none of that magic over here so far.
Well, guys, there's like a lot of teams that just do this. Like the Hurricanes pick up somebody, and it's like, oh yeah, the Hurricanes.
Yeah.
They
just
know.
They just
know. Gonna be good now. Yes.
Oh, jeez. Well, Ryan, listen, we appreciate every minute you can give us, as always. If you're not, listen. First of all, plug yourself. Where can everybody find you guys? Tell us.
I'm on twitter.com at Orion Mead, and that's it.
Yeah,
you can find me talking about Rangers anywhere.
And what about your awesome podcast that you and Greg run?
We host a show called Blueshirts Breakaway. My co-host is a Mets fan.
Hey,
nobody's perfect.
Got one in me. Me and Greg vibe.
It's a Mets podcast. So like,
I love it. I love it.
I don't care about the Mets. I want to make sure that's clear. I don't care at all.
Listen, I got the care for you. I got the care. Me and Greg are gonna vibe on it, and we'll see you guys in the World Series. No big deal. No big deal. Listen, thanks again, Ryan. You are the absolute best. Let's hope we have something to talk about maybe in a month or two.
We won't. Let's see if you guys next year.
If not, you will get us through. And so you're praying for the tank. It sounds like you're praying for the tank.
No, I'm just like praying to survive another day in my daily life. But like,
that's fair. That's a little off topic, but that's fair.
I think in this case, there's no like outcome that's good. Just like let's figure it out. What's the direction? I want a direction. That's what I want.
Yeah, we're just New York as a city is in a fucking rudderless ship. We got the Knicks, I guess, the only beacon of hope.
The Knicks got some vibes right now. I mean, we got the Knicks.
They're coming. That's it. We got nothing else. Fine. We love you, man. Appreciate you for coming on.
Thank you,
shout out to Ryan Mead. Shout out to Blueshirts Breakaway. And we're going to be out on the Freaky Friday. We love you guys so much.
Thank you, Ryan. You're the man.
You're the best. Hey, Ryan's the best.
Good dude.
I love that guy.
It says a lot about you because this is like the 4th year he's come back. Like at this point, he would have figured out how to duck you if he wanted to. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like he probably gets asked to do a lot of shows, and he says yes to you.
He said that to me the first time. He's like, you know what? I shouldn't be going on the show because I've ducked a lot of people, but something about our vibes. I don't know what it is, Jeff.
It's the vibes. Same with like Joe Warco, our fantasy football guy. When we first had him on, I think he had 10,000 followers. And he has just absolutely gone nuclear. I think he's over 80,000 now. He still comes on. He'll still answer my panicking text messages at Sunday at 12:45. When my bro starts sit, I'm freaking out. And he'll answer and give me the reason. And then he's right, like 9 out of 10 times. I don't know how.
I think we have an eye for good talent and good people. And we also give off good vibes to people that they want to come out and hang out. And that's what we want to do. And that's what we're going to try to do in this 2025. We're trying to hang out with all y'all. Thank you, everybody in this chat, the 338 that showed up to hang out with us. We'll hang out with Ryan. We want to be able to party with you guys, and we're going to try our best to get out there. Me and Jeff will be at a Knicks game, and we're going to have a lot more Knicks content coming out. We're going to try to go to a Ranger game. Let's try to if nothing else, we'll be at Tommy's, right?
We're going to put a bar night together, and we're just going to open up the invite, try to give you some notice so you can come hang out with us. And if you like beers and bar talk, and I think you do, this is pretty much what happens live, just with worse language, even worse.
Except our other member of the tripod, Mr. Eli Rax, we're missing him. I see you out there, E. We love you. But I want to find out, too, from our fans, like, where do most of you live? Where can we meet up? Where's the best place to meet and party with you guys? Because I think me and Jeff are willing to travel for some partying, right? Like, me, Eli.
Don't threaten me with a good time, first of all. We have no problem going to Staten Island, so why not?
Yeah.
We'll go anywhere.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, listen. In the meantime, the Rangers got to get out of this. I talked to Ryan a little bit about listen. I know it's all negative right now. And what is there to be positive about? But this team, the wild card leading team is at 57 points in the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Rangers are still only at 52, and they played some of the worst hockey I've seen them play in a very long time. I know it's bullshit. But I'm gonna pull my half glass full shit. Like, they got 5 games, 2 against Boston, who's ahead of them. One against the last one against Columbus, who's in the second wild card spot. They have a chance to make this at least a watchable season. And then I said, like, maybe they get the good vibes, they roll it into the Four Nations tournament, and they jive a little bit, right? JT Miller's jiving with them, and JT Miller comes onto the Rangers. They ride that with, again, the hottest goalie in the league, one of the best, most talented goalies in the league. You can't tell me there's not a puncher's chance if they get in.
The Rangers know how to get a fucking goalie. I mean, since we were little girls, they've had a great fucking goalie in net. That's one thing they can do. You just got to hope that, I'm a big vibes guy. If they could just find a little magic, get the vibe right, and go in with a little momentum, you never know. You absolutely never know. But damn, last year we really thought that was it.
I really believe, and I didn't think about it. It was going to happen. I didn't think it was going to happen at first because of how good they started the season. And like you said, you got punched in the mouth by Florida again. The same team we got punched in the mouth with last year. And I don't even think we had the hangover yet. But you know, like when you get really drunk really late, and then like the hangover doesn't come on until like the afternoon because you're still drunk in the morning.
Oh yeah,
I feel like that's what happened. Like we got, like you eat something and then it spurs it on after that. We ate something and that's a fist to the face by the Panthers, and it like spurred on the hangover. And it's like we just went into this black hole. And you know the hangover black hole that you get into after that late night, it's not fun. It is not fun. And
now you're speaking my language. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to relate to everybody here. This is how we do. So we've all been there, and they went to that black hole, and now they're drinking the waters to try and get out of this. They're smoking the weed to get, like, they're trying to get the vibes back already. It's been a roller coaster on their way back up. But again, we it's right there. They still have the best goalie on the planet, and they still have a lot of fucking talented players. You get a JT Miller, the asshole in the room that's like, hey, somebody want to fucking toughen up around here? Does anybody want to toughen up? Like, maybe that's what we need. We need that asshole. And it's only going to be for a season, and then they're probably going to blow it up after this, because if it doesn't work, people are gone, you know?
But make sports fun again.
Happens.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens.
Let's roll the dice, as they say. Good show, buddy. Always fun on a Freaky Friday. We got over 350 in here between X and YouTube. That's always cool on a Friday. We appreciate you guys. If you want more, like, subscribe, do all those fun things, how you support your favorite shows, and we appreciate you. Spiro, any final words?
No, it's going to be a pretty boring weekend, you know, in between the Super Bowl. But shout out to my boys, Nico and Luca, who are turning 5 and 3 this weekend. We are having a little party.
I forgot they got like the same birthday because you always have sex on the same weekend.
Cinco de Mayo, baby. Cinco de Mayo. One of the best holidays out there.
I bet you. Apparently, it's always a good time.
We have a great time. We have a great time. But a bunch of February, your boys turn in the big 4-0. And it's going to be I'm joining the club, Jeff. Join the club.
You don't look a day over 39. That's crazy to me.
Stop it.
All right. We love you guys. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see you next time.
New York Revival, I'm in the building.
Let's go. Live with the Woodlard Roll! Let's go!